It's a bird. It's a plane. It's the guy in the underwear. No, it's that Triple Take podcast, and we're coming your way. I'm Manny.
I'm Frank.
I'm Joseph.
Tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about the DC universe in movie adaptations. We're going to be starting it off with the downfall of the DCEU.
Ultimately, for the DCEU, I feel like it got thrown to the wayside because of corporate greed. They brought in Zack Snyder, and he had a whole vision, a whole plan to implement. He had the higher ups and the executives didn't want to go with what he had planned. Like, you hire a guy that's a creator who has a good reputation with the projects that he's worked on, yet you want to defile and just get rid of the thing he's trying to put out for you guys. As an example, for Justice League, even though Zack Snyder had to leave the project because of a family emergency he had to deal with, they had to do what was it? They cut off 30 minutes of content and then they did reshoots. Reshoots typically take movies, in terms of like a cost, between $5 to $10 million, yet they're spending $25 million on reshoots, bringing in a new director, and tonally just shifting the movie where you have some of Zack Snyder scenes and then you have Joss Whedon scenes. And you get the serious tone from Zack Snyder, yet you have the awkward comedic approach that Warner Brothers wanted to just mimic the MCU with their humor and lighthearted tones. And you kind of get two different movies just slopped in together.
Yeah, I feel like they were trying to compete with the MCU too much.
I think that's the first problem that I think of when it comes to the DC extended universe. It's the fact that most of the time, I think they were worried about catching up to to the Marvel Cinematic Universe in terms of where they were at the time, and they didn't really focus too much on how Joseph was explaining on the directing and the creativity behind it.
Because there was a plan, and Zack Snyder had a whole I want to say it was like a 5 to 8 year plan, because he was going to do 3 Justice League movies. He storyboarded all of them. He had his vision and plan, and all you got to do is just follow the plan, because he was leading it. And compared to different movie franchises just having multiple different directors, at least Zack Snyder provided a backbone, a foundation for this to be built off of. Yet, from what I understand, the executives just didn't want that backbone. They just wanted to shift it and make money. Going back to me talking about Justice League and them shaving off 30 minutes, they wanted to shave off 30 minutes just to have more screenings, just so they could make more money. You get rid of 30 minutes of content, such as the case for Batman v Superman, but then you have the director's cut and the story and plot points flow a lot more better instead of just seeming a little more chinkly. Like, the characters' actions are more justified in what they do.
Yeah, but the way I think about it is just like we were saying about the MCU and like how they were trying to catch up to them. They saw how much MCU was making and all that stuff, and how popular it was. I feel like they started if I'm not mistaken, this started way after the MCU started, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so it's just like
A good five-ish years.
yeah, 5 years. That's a long time. That's a lot. That's a lot of difference. And like I think they started. I think the DCU started like around the same time like the Avengers came out.
Avengers came out in 2012. Man of Steel, I think, came out in 2013.
So
Yes,
it's around the same
2013.
time, right?
Mhm.
So you got that Avengers, just like that, the accumulation, a culmination. There we go.
Mhm.
Yeah, a culmination of like
Culmination.
a culmination of various movies. Like you got Iron Man, right? I mean, obviously you got the Hulk, but like we don't count that. You got you got Iron Man, right? And you got like basically what I'm trying to say is like you got with Iron Man, you have like the setup for these characters, right?
Mhm.
And like compared to like the DCEU, it's almost like you barely got the characters to begin with. Yeah, you got Superman, but and you got a good sense of like who he is as a character, but like I felt like it wasn't enough like Iron Man. This man had what, like 3 movies? Or two movies? 3 movies?
It was 2.
There's 3.
2 before the first Avengers.
Oh, 2
Yeah,
before
yeah,
the first
it was
Avengers,
2
yeah.
movies before the first Avengers. So you got to really understand like Tony Stark, Iron Man, and like a couple of characters, and even you got to the way Captain America led into the Avengers. You got a good sense of like who Captain America was before you got into the Avengers, and like various of the things. Like the only one they introduced was what, like Hawkeye during that time.
Yeah, Hawkeye, because Black Widow came out in the second one, the second Iron Man. Thor had his own movie.
Hawkeye was introduced in Thor, but he was more of just a side character.
Yeah.
Technically, if you're
Oh
not
yeah,
gonna count,
he was introduced. In Thor.
technically, if you're not gonna count the Incredible Hulk, the Hulk technically came out in the Avengers by
But it's
himself.
like Hulk. You don't need that much setup for Hulk. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it's the Hulk.
So yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So it's like compared to that compared to the actual like DC universe, like it felt like you had no time with the characters at all, and it's just like Doma Justice League. You know what I'm saying? Like why did I care about these characters? Like you got what in that movie? You got Cyborg, The Flash,
Batman, Wonder Woman.
Hinting at Darkseid and all that.
And the only person you knew that was there was Henry Cavill Superman. Like that you got.
Well,
before.
you knew Batman was gonna be there because of the Superman versus Batman movie.
Did that come out before?
Yes,
It come out before. Okay, but like
and Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman came out before as well because Wonder Woman's in Batman v Superman.
she's in that movie.
That's so sad.
Bro, like I barely remember that
That's
movie.
so sad.
I just heard Martha, and I just wanted to get up and leave. Anyway,
Wait for me to hit on that point.
hit on that point. Hit me with it.
You know, let's just start with it. I take a different stance in terms of why the DC extended universe failed. I agree 100% with the character development that it was very lackluster for a fan base such as the DC side. As one of those people who is more towards the Marvel side than I am to the DC side, I would have loved to see a little bit more like character development. I would have loved for these movies to not feel so rushed. They wanted, that's the main thing that I see when I'm talking about the DCEU is rushed because they had a plan, and the plan was to, how Joseph explained, it was a plan based off of greed, and it basically harmed the characters towards what they were trying to achieve in terms of making something that would compete with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And when you rush things, the fans will notice, and we will turn against it.
Especially someone like Manny.
Yes, because I'm gonna be honest. There were only in the DC extended universe, I would say there's only 2 movies out of the 15 that I liked, and that was the first Wonder Woman. I think the first Wonder Woman was a great story. I loved it. And the other one I would say was Shazam. Shazam I thought was pretty cool. I liked it. I thought Zachary Levi did a great job. But here's the thing, is you capitalize on the first one so well, and then when I went to go see the second one for both of these, for Shazam and Wonder Woman, I'm left with disappointment because such a good start to fail on the next one is not a good way to keep fans coming back. The difference between Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984 is almost like night and day. You're looking for consistency, and you're looking for something that's going to want to make you come back. So you hit the mark on the first one. You made me want to come back. And then when I got there and I saw what I saw, I was just disappointed because it didn't measure up.
But how did it not measure up? Like, can you hit certain points that why it didn't measure up compared to the first one?
When it comes to Wonder Woman, the first one, Gal Gadot, I believe, is a fantastic actress. I believe that she played this role great. I believe the direction of this movie was fantastic. I believe that the action in it was great. Chris Pine, he was fantastic. There was a good story. It made like a thrilling a tale for one of the, if not the most influential a woman superhero in all of like superheroes in general.
Probably, yeah.
So I believe that one you saw everything from her start. You saw a great origin story. That's what I'm trying to get
You saw
at.
the strength, the grace, just everything that makes Wonder Woman good, you know?
And that's the most important thing that you want to make when you're talking about an origin story. Now, when it comes to the sequel, you hit in the sense of they didn't really change much with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman herself, I believe again. I think she's fantastic. The villain, Cheetah, is not at all compelling or something I would put up against Gal Gadot's performance and say that was great. No, it wasn't. It was kind of a letdown because there was so much inside of that sequel and it didn't really hit the mark where it should have hit the mark. And the worst part that I feel is the fact that it was directed by the same person. So you hit the mark on the first one and we expected so much to hit on the mark on the second one and it failed. And I feel like when you fail that consistently, you just lose interest over time.
Cause I feel like specifically with Wonder Woman 1984 was it 1984. It's just like it feels like they took the points from the first one, the things that everybody loved about the points from the first one, put the same exact thing in the second one. Didn't even build off of it, just kept it the same. And then like at the end we're just like, okay, here's the villain. It's just like what like it barely like it like no one cared about Cheetah because like they barely even set her up. You thought it was like a whole nother villain, and then it ended up being her at the end. And it's just like, oh, okay, the fight wasn't even that good. It's just like it just felt like it was just like, okay, we hit the points that made the first one popular. Here's a little bit of a difference at the end. Here you go, movie. It's just like,
And
nah.
you take that same point and you add it on to Shazam Fury of Gods. I think I'm the only one that saw that movie. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Okay. So you take those same points and you apply it to Shazam Fury of the Gods because it's literally the same thing. It's half baked. It's uninteresting. It's super unsatisfying from where it started to where it was going. And to have a villain that, again, you didn't care about. So what's the point of watching a superhero movie when there's not a great antagonist to put up against that superhero? It's very uninteresting. And they didn't build off of the great work that they did in the first movie. And again, it's the same it's the same thing of this was directed by the same person. So we expect that great. We expected, to build off of that, and it just fell flat.
I, even though I haven't seen the second Wonder Woman, I wouldn't, I wouldn't really hold it against the director because at the end of and her making the first Wonder Woman movie, the executives forced her hand in terms of changing the ending, wanting to bring out Ares and have a whole CGI or whatever fight, and most people would argue that the last part of the movie was the weakest link. But that was
Oh, the
just
first one?
for the first,
Yeah,
for
I
Wonder
think I
Woman
think
1.
I could agree with that.
But the executive was like, no, you got to do this because, every other Marvel movie did this, so we need this so we can make that money.
But I really feel like that's really their biggest downfall right there. Trying to copy the MCU. But it's like, because like in my mind, when I saw like, oh, the DCEU was going to be a thing, I was like, cool. Like, yeah, obviously I knew that comparing the Marvel Cinematic Universe to the DCEU was going to be inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, they're so similar. But in my mind, I'm like, they could easily coexist.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like, even though they're very similar in terms of like, yeah, they're superhero movies, whatever, they bring, like the same way the comics have been coexisting, they just bring so much different tones.
Mm-hmm. And then just that they have their own stories.
Like, and like almost so much more like depth to them, so much different depth. Like, it's just different. It's like different in their own ways, and that makes them great. Like me, I used to like the DC universe more than the Marvel universe, but after the cinematic run of both of these, like it really made me lean more towards Marvel because it saw like what they were doing with the IP and like with the whole brand, and it just made me like less interested.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like I'm over here like, oh, I want to see these gritty stories that show like a lot of depth to these characters, and I didn't get that with the DCEU,
And
and that really disappointed me.
it definitely had good moments in it.
For sure, yeah.
One of the top moments I would say is Ben Affleck's Batman in terms of like him throwing hands. Felt like
Yeah.
you were playing the
Facts.
Arkham games. But like what really breaks my heart as like a really big movie person is that you used to look at movies as being like a work of art. Like, this is a movie, everyone's excited to go see it. But nowadays, with studios and companies and all the licensing issues and whatnot, it just feels like a product being shipped out.
Yeah, like they're gonna buy this anyway. They just dish it out, put a bunch of big name people, come up with a half baked story, and see what happens.
Basically.
Yeah,
And the DC extended universe had all this love, like the fans really wanted it. And like you already know what the audience wants. They like what they're getting. People wanted the Snyder Cut, but they were like, oh, no, it doesn't exist. Like, how are you going to lie to your audience? If it's out there, they know it, and all you got to do is just give them what they want, and people just wanted more.
Yeah, it's just like with the like bring it back to the point where like they with the MCU and the DCEU like and they try to copy the DCEU try to copy the MCU. It's like the what I was going through like them trying to copy them and like oh it's working. It's like oh that's working. Let's do that. It made me feel like they lost their identity.
Mm-hmm.
It made them lose their identity like trying to be like this quirky like family friendly happy little MCU type of movie. It's just like it just doesn't work with DC. It just doesn't work. In my opinion, it doesn't work.
You look at the DC, like the DCEU movies, it's a collection of movies, yet the grand majority of them don't even feel connected to one another.
Exactly.
It's just a disconjoined thing.
Like the separate ones, the one like the Batman and the Joker feel more connected than those do.
And they're better.
And they're better, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because and going into that, like it really shows like how like them being independent from the actual DC universe, the ECEU showed how they stay true to their actual identity. Like that's the main thing that, in my opinion, makes them better because they stay true to like I say those are both set in Gotham, so it's like it's that gritty, dark place in Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
And like it showed like the ins and outs, the various things of depth to Gotham and to Batman and to the Joker that really shows how DC really is graphic in the way they show everything in their stories.
Mm-hmm.
But that leads me to say that with them losing their identity with their previous one, now with their new run with James Gunn taking the reins,
at the helm,
the man that gave us Guardians of the Galaxy
and the Suicide Squad.
The second one.
The second one, not the first one.
Suicide Squad was good, by the way. I just want to say that.
First
The
one.
Will Smith one?
Nah, the second one's better.
I was about to say.
Second one's better. Yeah, I don't know if it's because of Peacemaker, but either way. But with James Gunn, do we trust? Do we trust in James Gunn? I think we do because with him and Peter Safran, that's how you say it, Safran.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I guessed through a oop.
And you caught it and dunked it.
But I feel like me looking at the direction that they want to take this. With like Superman Legacy, and then you got like Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and you got the Thing, no, not the Thing,
The Authority.
Swamp Thing.
You got Swamp Thing. You got the
Swamp
Authority.
Thing. The Authority. Yeah. So like you can see like the different direction they're really taking it, and like from the synopsis that they give and how they introduce them, it really feels like they're gonna take these characters individually and really build off them. And the thing that I feel like that they're gonna do right, that they're gonna learn from the MCU, is that the MCU is really going down in terms of the shows when they introduce the shows, like we talked about that in previous episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But them introducing shows and movies at the same time, I feel like they'll be able to build off it better than the MCU just because of the way that they're doing it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can tell like with the synopsis that they're really building off like the characters. Like with Superman Legacy specifically, they're going to be focusing more on the beginning of Superman, right?
Yes, they're going to start off from the beginning.
Which I think is a perfect way to go about it because we all know that Superman is the face of the DC universe. Like obviously. Like in various comics and various things, that man is the reason the DC universe is a thing. Superman, right? So I feel like if you're able to establish a connection to that character, just like Marvel did with Iron Man, even though he's not really the face, but like they made him the face.
Mm-hmm.
Superman, if you're able to establish a connection with that character, it'll give you a good foundation to move forward and build off of him, right? So with Superman Legacy going into that, like in his earlier years, like me and Manny, I don't know if you watched it, Joseph, but Smallville, love Smallville. Smallville, amazing show. In my opinion, it's an amazing show because it got me to see a whole different version of Superman I didn't know. Not this crazy, powerful, like holding back all the time. They're like, oh, it's super strong. But like this just regular guy trying to figure out his powers and trying to be the best person he could be. And that's what made me like Superman even more. I didn't like Superman until I saw that show. So it's like if they can do that with Superman Legacy, I feel like it will start a strong, will be a strong start to the new DC universe.
I agree. I trust James Gunn, and above all else, what I liked what Warner Brothers did, because now there's new people, they have new executives, so the grand majority of the other people that were in charge are kind of out. And they did for Warner Brothers, they split off DC to more or less be its own studio, like how you have Disney, but Disney has Marvel. But what's in charge of the MCU isn't necessarily Disney; it's Marvel. So where you have James Gunn being in charge of the storytelling aspect of it, the actual like project, the art of it per se, and then you have Peter doing the business aspect of it, but not necessarily like like each one has their role and it's clearly like
they're not stepping on each other's toes.
correct.
Yeah.
And I trust James Gunn. Like if you look at interviews of him just talking about like different movies and stuff for Guardians 3, that long hallway fight scene towards the end of the movie, which is goated.
Oh,
One of the
my favorite
greatest,
scenes
one of
ever.
the greatest fight scenes I've ever seen.
Facts.
When talking about how he like came up with that, he got the idea from I believe one of the Ant Man movies where there was just a long hallway fight scene.
Yes.
Oh my god!
I never even made that connection before. That's amazing. I love it.
But
man.
like hearing him explain that, you get the sense that like he is a fan of projects like this.
Yes.
He talks about different characters and how he talks about the Authority and then what was it, Creature whatever that.
Yeah, Creature Commando.
Creature Commando. He talks about these characters like he grew up with them. And I think it's cool to have someone who you can consider to be a fan, like one of us, being in charge and making these movies.
So it's like kind of how you said with Henry Cavill, like he was somebody that enjoyed Superman, enjoyed the role because he's a fan like us.
Correct.
And you felt like the people that were running it weren't like that. And now that you feel like you see someone that is like that running that, you feel like it has a better future.
Correct. There's communication, there's trust. Like the way Henry Cavill got done dirty.
For sure.
that man-
Insanely.
Super dirty.
Aside from being like this bulky actor, like you hear interviews about him, he's a gamer. He's a nerd. And it's cool to have
Don't judge a book by its cover.
yeah, exactly. Like it's
Yeah.
cool to have someone like that I can honestly relate with.
Yeah.
But I will say something that James Gunn and the new DC universe has to do is really break away from the reputation that and the whole mess that the DCEU had to go through. Because then you have like the average person, like, are they really gonna really tell the difference between what happened before to versus now? Like, there's like, oh, everyone said this sucks. Like, this is what I know, but not most people just don't go research to actually see what happened. And I hope that James Gunn and the new DC team per se is able to sort of make it its own. Like like take what they're putting out, reference the source material, but don't necessarily just use the source material. Like another IP that utilized DC was the Injustice games. They took it and they ran with it in their own direction. And that's what I'm hoping that James Gunn does with his take on it and sort of have like he has his plan, stick to his plan, and just take it as he is as a fan. He just wants to see it grow the same way we do.
I completely understand that. Now, in terms of me, I'm gonna be the bearer of bad news until I see James Gunn produce something that isn't fun, quirky, and can be in a more serious tone. I'm gonna have to say I have 75% confidence. Here's my thing. His previous works that we've seen are The Suicide Squad, Guardians of the Galaxy. Both of those are very fun. They're funny. They're great story. And here's the thing. That's Marvel is known for its kid-friendly, fun superheroes. We're talking about the DC universe. The DC universe is gritty, it's dark, it's a different mood because in reality, Marvel is for kids and teenagers. DC is for adults. That's the way I look at it because there are more adult themes in DC, and there's a more serious tone in DC. Now, I'm not saying all these movies need to be so serious, but I'm saying that until I see him do a project where it matches that serious, gritty tone that the DC has, that the DC like universe has, I'm gonna say 75% confidence. I'm confident in his abilities to create a movie that is going to be like above standards. I have no problem saying that. But when it comes to hitting that mark in in that grit and that tone, I'm gonna have to say I don't see him hitting that mark until I see it.
You want to know why I can understand what you're saying because like you're already skeptical because of like what's been happening with the DC, but I feel like the way that he's going about it after reading like the that article that we were talking about, um, what's that article called? Can you mind if you look up the article so I can reference it? I'm sorry, but in terms of the article, it showed like I was talking about the synopsis of the various projects he's gonna come out with, and he mentions my favorite thing that really got me besides like the swamp thing and like how it's gonna be like horror, which is amazing by the way, but the fact that he referenced the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, he's gonna have the creator of that same title from the comics, Tom King, help write those stories. So he's bringing writers that are already prominent in the DC comics and like know about and done various movies and various writers. So it's not just him coming up with things. And even when you mention Guardians of the Galaxy, like the third movie has a whole different tone from the other ones. Like yeah, it's fun and quirky a little bit, but it got so serious with like the way the story went and how it developed that it was a completely different tone. It made me sad, it made me laugh, it made me feel things, right? So I feel like he can hit those gritty tones, especially with help from people that actually wrote DC stories. And the reason why I mentioned the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow specifically is because I haven't read the story personally, but from what the synopsis said, it said that it takes on a grittier, more darker tone of Supergirl, like not that fun. Um, how should I say fun and like airy, not airy, but
Not
like
lighthearted.
yeah, lighthearted is a good lighthearted like from what we see from the Supergirl show. It's very lighthearted, like she's just a regular girl. But this it's from what it said, it's gonna take a more like serious take on the character, more gritty you could say. And like you just taking that character and doing that already like makes me feel like okay, like they know the tone that the DC universe should be having.
Um, One of the interviews that I recently saw of him, and he compared like having, because I do trust him being able to make a cinematic universe because he did work in the MCU for an extended period of time. He set up the lore for the Infinity Stones, and that some like on it. I mean, he said he came up with it in like 14 minutes, but it became a whole um main foundation that was supported throughout the rest of the movies. And in the interview, he was talking about what he wants to do for the DC movies is to have tonal variety. So you have some lighthearted characters and others that are going to be more serious. Like, how are you going to have Batman cracking jokes? You just don't do that because that's not
Yeah,
Batman.
but that's why you have people like Blue Beetle or the Flash.
Correct.
Yeah.
And another thing that I think is pretty
It's just like the MCU, just you have a more lean more towards a serious tone. This is what the DC is.
correct. One thing that I think is pretty ambitious is their sense of like continuity and consistency with having all the actors that they're trying to get to go from live action to animation to some games that will actually tie in to all these movies.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And they're gonna keep like the actors the same, right?
Correct. They're gonna try to
Throughout.
keep them the same for as long as possible.
Yeah, that is ambitious, but I feel like that's the fan in them, right?
Hmm.
Like we want like oh like I heard this guy from the game. I hear him I see him in the movie. I heard him from the game. Like that's just like a special connection.
Like you're gonna
We
have these actors
like
and
at least.
actresses literally own that character, like how you would hear Batman, but most of the time you'll think of Kevin Conroy with that iconic voice.
Yeah.
How these actors are literally gonna be one with these characters.
And I feel like that's definitely an ambitious way to look at it. And I feel like if they can pull it off, it'll be great.
Hmm.
One of the things I wanted to bring up was we'll start with Frank and we'll go around. How important is Superman Legacy to this universe? How important is the first movie?
I mean, I think I mentioned mine before, but it's just like I said, like the Superman legacy, like Superman is the foundation of the DC universe. So this creating like a connection to that character will lead to, like I said, a great foundation, and also to something you can build off of. It's like almost like if you know sports, you got a star player, you build your team around that star player, or you get a star player that'll flourish in a team in a specific team. If you got a star player, you focus on them. You make sure that they're good, they're straight, because that's what's gonna make the team great. Building around them, making sure that they uh, are good and people view them a certain way, so that you're able to build off them.
I'm not a sports person, but I see what you're putting on the table.
Yeah, star player. Everybody knows what a star player is.
I mean, as the only thing I really want, at least for the first few projects that come out, I really want them to really hit on the world building, not necessarily just in like each individual movie, but have them all feel connected. And they're supposed to be one unified grand plan per se, or even if these movies aren't as interconnected, but at least and you feel that if they say if it's in this world, it you just watch the movie based on the art style or the directing or whatever, you feel that they're in the same world.
When it comes to Superman Legacy, I'm gonna say this is the most important step. This will deter what the DC universe, this cinematic universe, will be moving forward. Um, so I think that when it comes to Superman Legacy, how Frank said the star player, this is this is James Gunn's first test. This will be one of many, and if this fails to reach the mark, it will have a big big negative impact towards the rest of this universe moving forward. In a sense, I said how Deadpool 3 for Marvel was the reset from all the bad stuff that was happening and how important that was. I think Deadpool 3 and Superman Legacy are on the same wavelength for both of these cinematic universes.
I think Superman legacy is even more important.
Coming off of where the DC extended universe came from and what it's gonna be for Superman Legacy, I completely agree with you. It is a little bit more than Deadpool 3, but I still feel like this is it. This is it. Because if you fail, if this movie, I hope that and pray that it doesn't. But if this movie fails, it's gonna leave a bad image on the rest of these projects moving forward. That's how I feel personally.
I understand that. I just hope that at least the fans, it doesn't have to be a perfect movie, but as long as like it stays true to what it's trying to be, and not, like don't just be a setup movie. Just be Superman.
Yes.
Just do what you got to do. The fans obviously want this, and just give the fans what they want.
Yeah. And I think the main thing that from also looking at the various projects that they show that they're gonna do in the synopsis of them, they're not afraid to take risks.
Hmm.
They're not afraid to do a different tone or a different setup from what's previously been done.
Especially with bringing in new characters,
Yeah,
or
new
lesser
characters.
known characters.
Like like Brave and the Bold. They're gonna bring Damian Wayne's Robin.
Did you just call him a lesser known character?
No. But I was gonna say that before I even mentioned
He's
that.
a lesser known Robin.
He's definitely not.
Whoa.
He's the newest one, right? I think. No,
He
not the
is.
newest one, but like he's one of the newer ones. So people will know more Dick Grayson and Jason Todd than they know Damian Wayne as Robin. Like that's for sure.
All right. I'll stay silent.
Sure, whatever. Anyway, but even them approaching it in that aspect is gonna bring a whole new different tone to Batman himself, with like him dealing with the assassins. What are they called again?
League of Assassins.
Wow, okay. League of Assassins and like
That's simple.
yeah, and League of Assassins. I know they did that with
Or
Christopher Nolan, right?
pause. Or is it the League of Shadows?
League of Shadows.
League of Shadows, yeah.
I guess it's not that simple.
I know I'm gonna butcher this man's acting name. Was it Christopher Nolan?
Christopher Bale.
Christian Bale.
Christian
Bale, boy. Yeah, exactly.
Who?
I got allergies.
But they did they did that. They did like the whole League of Assassins.
Shadows.
League of Shadows. They did the whole League of Shadows with Christian Bale. With Christian Bale, but I feel like with them introducing Damian Wayne into the mix, we'll have a whole different dynamic.
I agree.
I agree. I still don't think Damian Wayne is a lesser known character. But
Bro, he's not a
I
lesser known
agree.
character, but like it's definitely one that hasn't been as approached much in live action.
That is true.
At all, you mean?
Much
when I
much
hear
and at
Robin-
all is almost the same thing.
But here's the thing. I mean,
Boy.
Bruh.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
maybe that's tough. One thing I just wanna point out is I do appreciate the fact that so far with the synopsis that we have for the new DC universe, it feels a little bit more spread out in terms of like what they're gonna be putting out. It's only, I think, 5 shows, five movies. That's their slate, and they're gonna be periodic. Like they're gonna be more spaced out, whereas the movies and TV shows for Marvel were like all grouped in together, and it was that overload of content. So I feel like that's something else that I feel is a huge positive for this moving forward. So now we're gonna get into a little bit of fun. We're gonna have a little triple threat draft. We're gonna be doing 5 picks. We're also gonna be doing. It's gonna be DC heroes and villains. This is base form, so don't get crazy.
Yeah.
Don't be
No God form cosmic.
no infinite frontier, dark side, true form, dark side.
The super yellow Superman.
No
One-
dark side, just ookses.
Superman 1 million, none of that stuff.
No, none of that.
But heroes and villains are on the board. As I am the GOAT, I have the first pick.
Wait, hold on. So are we doing it in order, like one pick, and then we can keep going around?
Yeah, we're gonna keep going around.
Can we pick the same person?
No.
Oh man.
So once your person gets taken, it's a wrap.
I hope I hope I hope you guys don't pick one of mine.
So this is obviously
I'm okay.
personal preference. So with the first pick in the
I already know who's gonna
DC
pick.
draft, I need a brain for my team. I'm picking Brainiac. And for
Which one?
Nah, that's a fair question. No. There's more than one Brainiac. He's right.
I know I'm keeping my Brainiac.
like
You'd be surprised.
I don't know.
Typically, ideally, there's 2 of them.
Yeah, that they see them in the animated show.
Not even that. You get 2 variety in like most continuities.
But the main one is the one from
The one that hates Superman. Is
Yeah.
that the one you're talking about?
yeah.
Okay.
The main one is the one that hates Superman. So I'm gonna take
go last.
Brainiac
I'll go
as my brains of the operation, just simply because I need somebody who's smart.
I mean, his
And I'm not- and
his
I'm
name
not-
does have brain in it. So
Yeah, I mean, I need somebody smart. So go ahead, Joseph. First pick.
what's yours?
I'm going with Metron.
Who?
This isn't Transformers.
Metron, the new god that has the Mobius chair. The one who sees everything.
This guy, bro.
This guy's bringing the. If I would
bringing the
have.
cosmic.
Jesus.
You know what? I was thinking about
I picked him because he is who has the information. Because I built a whole team together.
We're saying base form, so
Yeah, he's just sitting in the chair. That's all he does.
he wouldn't have the chair.
How would you know? I mean, every version of him, I see him with the chair.
But you wouldn't have the chair.
How about you just say the original guy with the chair? It's the same thing. They got the same information.
I guess it's Metron.
Because I could say Batman with the Mobius chair. And
I could
that's
say
just-
Wally West with the Mobius chair.
That ain't that. It's just,
Wanna be
it's
real
just Metron.
crazy
He
with
always
it.
has the chair.
But okay.
I've never seen him without the chair.
Okay.
Well, he doesn't
All right,
have the chair.
I'll continue. I'll continue the brain, and I think you could tell I didn't go as busted as these dudes did. But I'm gonna go with Vandal Savage.
You.
Yeah, boy.
Which
Why?
version of him?
The best one, caveman one. I mean, obviously the one that came from a caveman. Why Randall Savage? Because this man, I ain't gonna lie. Ever since I saw him in the anime show, and like I saw him go from like a caveman to like to there, and he's just like this crazy guy with like they lived through all this crazy lives and stuff. I just think that he's just a very in-depth character. He may not have all the knowledge like the guy in the Mobius chair or whatever, but he has experience. He knows how things work. He knows how people work. So I feel like he'll be a great asset to a team.
Okay.
Has the brains.
On that note, I'm gonna say the version of Vandal I would have picked.
Like we said, base forms.
We said base forms.
No, I know. But like, my favorite Vandal, like depiction of him.
Yes.
In the Justice League animated show, not Unlimited, just the original one.
Yeah.
Is where Superman ends up going in the future, and you have Vandal like
Taking over
regretting what he did.
Oh, he has like the beard and stuff.
Correct.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That was my favorite. That's what I would have gone with, but it's okay. I'll pick someone.
It's the same person.
It was not. That one went through stuff. He regretted his life.
All right. So my second pick, I'm gonna take a powerhouse, and I'm gonna take Dr. Manhattan. I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna make sure that none of these teams can measure up to me because it's
Yeah, I can. There's plenty of people that could beat that guy.
Base form Dr. Manhattan's kind of OP. I'm just letting you know.
I'm just gonna let you know right now. A lot of people could beat Dr. Manhattan.
Just letting you know. If you haven't seen The Watchmen or haven't known about The Watchmen, Dr. Manhattan is probably the top tier when it comes to DC. He's up there with the Supermans of the world. Just saying.
All right, go ahead, Joseph. What's yours?
Amazo.
I should have known this guy was gonna do all this stuff.
Pick the copycat.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. Well, why you pick Amazo? Because he can do everything.
Well,
because he's amazing.
He's pretty busted.
You could. I mean, you have Amazo. He's just an android, but you could also have more than one of him.
Can he clone himself?
Well, I mean, like you could just make another Amazo.
But not. We'll keep him one. Remember?
I mean, the way I had my thing set up was that you have an Amazo, and there's like, you know what? Let's make more of him. And they have an army of Amazo.
This man's trying to be Ultron. He's just cheating already, bro.
I'm not cheating.
Trying to have more than 5. All right. Mine, the person that can beat Dr. Manhattan, Dr. Fate.
Debatable.
No, it's not debatable, my guy.
Debatable.
That man is just as busted.
Tune into the next episode.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, sure, whatever. I mean, I don't think I need to express Dr. Fate that much. Man, Busted knows every single piece of magic that basically beats Superman, so y'all better not pick Superman. Find Superman and go pick next.
No.
Superboy Prime? All right, no. All right, go ahead, Manny. Go ahead.
All right. For my third pick, I'm gonna pick Wonder Woman. Just for the simple fact that I just like Wonder Woman. There's no rhyme or reason behind it. I just need Wonder Woman.
That's a valid choice. I mean, she's kind of great too, bro. No cap.
Well, there you go. Simple as that.
So my next person, the most busted base form there is in the DC universe, Lucifer Morningstar.
Oh my goodness! Of course, this man picked the devil.
Is it because of the show?
No.
Okay.
I enjoy the show.
You looked this up.
Me?
Yeah.
Man did his homework.
Where does he even come up from? Like, in what animated show or anything?
He's in none of the animated shows.
But he's
in the comics, though.
Okay. Yeah, I figured. I was like, I never seen that man in my life in the actual thing.
He's busted.
No, busted. Yeah, he is.
Screw Dr. Manhattan. Lucifer.
Loser?
Lucifer.
Guess what? He's made of matter.
Everything is. Anyway.
Bye.
So, my next pick, because I'm surprised you guys skipped over this man so much, I'm going to just pick Martian Manhunter.
Completely forgot about that person.
Yeah, you did. So you talking about busted? Oh boy. You're just lucky I can't pick the one that's not weak to fire. Cause that's a different version.
That's not base form.
Yeah, that's not base form technically. All he did was just have an epiphany, but
Interesting.
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of true.
That's all he did. Oh wait. I'm okay. Busted. All right, go ahead, Manny.
This will be the fourth pick, right? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the fourth pick, I'm going to have to take my boy. I'm taking the Flash.
Yeah. You're picking everybody I knew you guys were going to pick.
Mainly due to the fact that I've been a fan of the Flash since I've grown up because I always wanted super speed. and I know I'll never get it.
I mean, you got to be a fan of him when a guy with a bald head and looking like Sandy from SpongeBob with the astronaut head could just click a button and just beat him. But yeah,
You talking about Captain Cold?
yes.
I was like, what?
That took a turn.
That took a dark turn.
Gotta love him.
Fourth person, right?
Yes. Manny took his.
Instead of picking Brainiac 5, I'll do someone else.
We could just pick the
Brainiac
other
5, that's the Brainiac in the League of Superheroes, like the
Yeah.
future Brainiac,
Yeah,
the
the
good
one.
one.
Yeah.
I actually made a good team, not a bad one, surprisingly.
What do you mean a good team?
That he chose mostly good guys, not bad
Yeah.
guys.
I mean, I guess that's true.
I chose the mix.
So since I don't have Vandal to be my tactician, I'm gonna choose Deathstroke.
Oh boy.
Getting stomped. Getting absolutely stomped by the other team.
Why Deathstroke?
Why? His ability as a tactician and strategist is comparable to Batman.
Okay, so
And he
it's not the fact that he has questionable methods and questionable.
Actions.
Yeah.
That's what he got to do. It is what it is.
What?
No,
No,
well, I know there's some darker things.
Wait.
You need to be specific about that.
We do not condone those actions.
A PG-13. How about that?
The one from the Teen Titans.
The one from the Injustice storyline.
Chill out.
PG-13.
All right. My next one, because I know y'all are not gonna pick my last one. I'm picking Lobo.
God bless Amazo.
That man, Lobo is just busted. Man can't die, literally. So
I think we got a lot of people who can't die.
I know, but like he's like it's just as strong as Superman, just like not the without the weaknesses. So I mean,
Alright.
probably not just as strong, but because he holds back or whatever. But he's pretty strong.
Well, with my final pick to round off the team, I have to pick Big Daddy Darkseid. And I'm sticking
I feel like he
to
went
it.
first because he knew he picked the people that most people pick.
Yeah, no, not really. Not
I
really.
agree, because I didn't go with what I usually would go.
Not really.
Me either, because I knew he was gonna pick him.
I really went outside of my regular people and
With
you know,
Darkseid?
yeah, because
And the
We only
Flash?
picked him because we teleported each other.
With Darkseid and the Flash, you picked outside.
because my original list was completely different. I picked a lot of street level people.
And you realize, damn, I'm gonna get clapped. I need to change this.
Yeah, I know. I felt like I needed to step it up a little bit. Thank God I did.
with Joseph's freaking list, bro.
Thank God I did. But I'm taking Big Daddy Darkseid.
All right, go ahead, Joseph. What's your last pick?
I never thought I'd hear the words Big Daddy Darkseid come out of this man's mouth.
I mean, Manny, what can I say?
Big Daddy.
PG, bro. PG.
I gotta
sorry.
switch my list a little bit. What would my last one be?
If you want, we could come back to you. All right, bet. Yeah, because I know Manny took one. Like we took two of yours, so it's a little hard.
No, it's you. The Brainiac one and the Vandal Savage one threw me off.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we took two of yours, so it's like I can understand. So with mine, I'm gonna just throw a curveball in there, and I think this is funny.
Mm-hmm.
I'm picking Plastic Man.
You know, I would expect him to go with that, not you.
Bro,
He was in my original list.
I ain't gonna lie, I thought he was gonna take it, but I knew that by the way his list was going, I was like, nah, I can pick him last. He's not gonna pick him.
Nope. Nope.
Nah, but bro, Plastic Man. First of all, he's funny. He could turn into anything, and this man actually like the low key most busted character in the whole DC universe.
In a sense, yeah, he is.
Because I don't think he could die, right?
You know he can't.
He can't die, but obviously that's the common theme. In
He's
our
Mr. Fantastic, what he wish he could be.
Mr. Fantastic is nowhere near the level of this man.
That's what I'm saying. What Mr. Fantastic wish he could be.
This man is busting. He's actually like insanely smart. Actually has insane detective skills comparable to Batman, which is crazy. I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this witty character that like you seem like, oh, like he's not that big of a deal. Actually can cause like some crazy damage and could be a very good asset in terms of transportation, support, and combat, and mental prowess in the team.
Okay. I'm gonna choose Mr. Terrific.
Goated.
Nah, super underrated. I like that
Goated.
pick.
As a man that basically has the ability to learn anything, so put him in a situation that he doesn't know, and I guarantee you that man will find a way.
Still not as busted as the mutant from X-Men First Class.
Darwin
You
has
mean
the
Darwin?
power to
Yeah.
just adapt.
Yeah.
Mr. Terrific just learns.
I know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
just
I
wanted
would
to
rather
put that out
adapt.
I'd rather learn. Be like, I'll beat you.
I'd rather adapt.
I mean, if he has enough defense, he could pretty much like be anybody. So
I mean, Lucifer, just boop, shield.
I mean, not even that. Mobius chair. Teleport, teleport, teleport.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Well, those were some great lists. Let us know which team you like more and what team you would have chosen. Who did we miss? Who do you think should have been taken? There were a lot of misses. There were a lot of people that weren't taken.
Like Superman, Batman,
You mean like 99.99% of the actual like roster?
and like
I'm talking about
Green
popular.
Lantern.
I'm talking about popular
Green Lantern.
characters.
And on top of that, like, you just tell us like how crazy it is that Manny forgot about Martian Manhunter. All right.
Facts. I can't believe I let that slide. That's crazy. But that's gonna be it for all of us. Join us for the next one. It's been me, Manny,
Frank.
I'm Joseph.
and that's the Triple Take Podcast. We out.